Do you need to play any of the Battlefield games prior to Battlefield 2042 to get the most enjoyment out of the new game? Welcome to Uplink. Okay, so that question is on a lot of people's minds. Do I need to play any of the other Battlefield games, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5? The naming scheme on this series is quite varied, but the question a lot of people have, do I need to play any of the other games before I hop in? And I think the answer to that is no. Battlefield 2042 is going to be one of the most open, well, it is going to be the most intense and the most biggest, if you want to put it that way. It is not going to be super limiting if you haven't played any of the Battlefield games. Obviously, if you do play any of the other previous Battlefield games, you're going to find more enjoyment out of it than, let's just say, someone who only played Jedi Fallen Order. Now, they're still going to get the same amount of enjoyment, and they're going to be able to hop in alongside all of the other people, but they're gonna see Battlefield 2042 almost better than people who have experienced it in the past, because they're going to see, hey, I'm going to play this game as the game is, instead of being like, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to expect this from Battlefield 4, I'm going to expect this from Battlefield 1, I'm going to expect this from Battlefield 4. I think people hopping into the game for the first time, or the franchise for the first time, are going to really enjoy the experience of hopping in and playing the game with basically new eyes. They don't have any preconceived expectations of the game, no preconceived notions. They jump in and you can actually play it to your heart's content without any of the baggage of the rest of the series. Now, that does bring into question kind of the space that Battlefield 2042 is going to fill in the multiplayer shooter area. Also, this is plugged in. I have it plugged in through this cable here. If you are like, oh my gosh, he's now plugging in his audio. It is plugged in. But it does bring into question, what will Battlefield 2042 bring for people who have not played the franchise before? Obviously, you're going to hop in and you're going to experience Battlefield 2042 with the wider scale, 128 player matches. You're going to experience the wider, larger maps, which is going to be really fun. But what are some of the tips that you can have to play Battlefield 2042 to your heart's content and also prepare yourself for it in the best way? And the question I've seen around a few times from new players is, do I need to play any of the other Battlefield games to really enjoy this experience? The answer to that question is no, you don't. Another question that people have is, do I have to play them? No, that's the exact same thing. There's also the thing of, hey, I don't want to play those old games. I have these other games. I have Apex. I have Call of Duty Warzone. I have Call of Duty Black Ops. I have Battlefront 2 that I'm still playing. That's perfectly fair. I think you're going to get the exact same experience, maybe a little toned down in terms of nerdiness, and be like, oh my gosh, they changed the reload from this weapon and it's different from when it was in Battlefield 4. Like, okay, you're not going to get that level of experience with Battlefield 2042, but I think you're going to hop into it with fresh eyes and be able to learn the game for what it is versus what it was in the past versus what it could have been by what they've done in the past as well. The answer to the question of, do I need to play any of the previous Battlefield games to get the full experience of Battlefield 2042? No. I envy you for not actually having played any of the Battlefield games. You're going to be able to hop in with fresh eyes and be able to experience the world in a new way. It's going to be really fun. So let's say you are the person who does not want to play any of the past Battlefield games, or is not in the financial place to be able to afford the past games, just so you can practice for Battlefield 5, or just so you can practice for Battlefield 2042. What are some of the ways that you can really prep? Well, one way is to watch videos of people playing. You can get a good idea of the visual mechanics and the way people play the previous Battlefield games, if you just want to hop in and visually watch people play. Another way is just jump into first-person shooters. I know every single first-person shooter has a different flavor of the genre, but the fact that you are playing a game consistently that has a similar feel, you're going to work on your reflexes, you're going to work on your timing, you're going to work on just your skill on the mouse, the keyboard, or the controller. These are things that you really want to do to prep yourself for Battlefield 2042. Watch as many people play as possible. Any of the past games, we don't have gameplay of Battlefield 2042 yet. EA Play is on the horizon, so we possibly could see something there. But you just want to hop in, put hours into other games, or watch people play games. I think that's going to be a huge part of prepping yourself for Battlefield 2042 if you don't want to play any of the past Battlefield games. And I understand, like, I hopped into the games, the franchise of Battlefield at Battlefield 1 and really enjoyed it. Hopped into Battlefield 5. Well, some of the mechanics were definitely better. I preferred Battlefield 1, so it's a convoluted mess to hop into those past games. You may not get the exact same experience. You definitely won't get the exact same experience hopping into Battlefield 2042 as you will those past games. Again, it's the same developers, the same kind of mechanics and feel, so it is a benefit to hop into those past games, but you don't necessarily have to. I know people who are just playing Apex, and what I would recommend to you is see people's loadouts and how they've got their settings on their keypads, their controllers, their keyboards, whatever they're playing with. Look at how they've got it set up and then replicate that in other games so you can get used to more than likely how Battlefield 2042 will implement their gameplay. Because each game does it similarly, or does it similarly but different in a little way. I know when I play a bunch of Apex and I hop into something like Battlefield or Battlefront, it's confusing. Some things are just slightly different. The movement of Apex is different than the movement in Battlefield. But if you replicate some of the keypads and the keystrokes or the controller layouts, you can definitely benefit from playing just Apex. So those are some of the tips and tricks I would give for people who don't necessarily want to play any of the past Battlefield games in preparation for Battlefield 2042. I think it's going to be really cool to see what Battlefield 2042 offers for new players. I know a lot of people are going to be hopping off of Battlefront and going to Battlefield. I know a lot of content creators are doing so I definitely see players just casually jumping from Battlefront to Battlefield and from Call of Duty to Battlefield as well. I definitely see some of those things and some of the shifts of the communities. So yeah, Battlefield 2042 is going to be a really fun jump into the franchise. And if you jump in like right around the start of the game, or the franchise, the series, whatever, no matter where you jump in, if it's the previous games or if it's Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 2042. I've said that so many times and I messed it up so many times today. I definitely see a benefit to hopping into the franchise with this game because they're basically refreshing the franchise with this one. They lost their way with Battlefield 5 and they're hopping in and basically they nuked everything and they're going to rebuild from not necessarily from scratch, but kind of more of a focus on people jumping into the game for the first time or coming back to it after playing a lot of Call of Duty because they didn't necessarily enjoy Battlefield 5. What are the ways that you are prepping yourself for Battlefield 2042? Are you hopping into other games? Are you hopping into the past Battlefield games? Let me know down in the comments below. And also let me know what you think of these types of videos. I threw this set together. This is where I have my desk. This is where I do most of the editing of podcasts and video stuff. I threw the plant in the background, as you can see back there. But let me know what you think of these types of videos because I really enjoy them. It's fun to get the face-to-face connection to all of you. So thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Stay tuned for more content from us here at Uplink. But ultimately, do you need to play any of the past Battlefield games to experience Battlefield 2042 for? But ultimately, the question, do you need? The answer to that question, any tips or tricks that I would recommend? Okay, do you need to play any of the other Battlefield games before you hop into Battlefield 2042? Let's talk about that. No. Okay.